Natasha, to love is to suffer. To avoid suffering, one must not love.
I was also afraid of men.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was afraid of men, yes.
Michael, you say you love me, and then you talk about allowing me to leave.
There are things that have been going on for years between...
Hollywood woke up to shock today. Diane Keaton, the woman who made awkward charming and honesty fashionable, is gone. The news hit just after sunrise, and for a few seconds, nobody believed it. No warning, no details, just silence. And that silence is what hurts the most. This wasn't another celebrity headline. This was Diane Keaton, the heartbeat of Annie Hall, the Godfather, father of the bride. Her passing left questions no one can answer, and tributes that reveal the side of her we never really saw. Bette Midler spoke first. She was hilarious, she wrote, a complete original. What you saw was who she was. Then Goldie Hawn added softly, we weren't ready to lose you. You left us with a trail of fairy dust. The words were beautiful, but haunting, because they hinted that Diane's final days might not have been as peaceful as we all believed. And when Steve Martin posted, our friendship was pure delight. She was a true original. The realization hit. Hollywood hadn't just lost an actress, it had lost an era. So what really happened in those final days? Why the silence from her family? And what secret was hidden behind those heartbreaking tributes? Let's uncover the truth behind Diane Keaton's final chapter. The day the news broke, it started quietly. A few cryptic posts just after dawn. Then, all at once, the internet erupted. Diane Keaton has died at 79. Phones lit up. Newsrooms froze. Within minutes, hashtags flooded every feed. Hashtag RIP Diane Keaton. Hashtag Hollywood icon. Hashtag Forever Annie Hall. But behind the flood of grief was confusion. No details, no context, just shock. The official statement was brief, almost cold. We ask for privacy during this difficult time. No cause of death, no location. Nothing to explain how someone so full of life could vanish overnight. For fans, it felt unreal. Just days earlier, Diane had been online, cracking jokes, posting photos, talking about projects. She looked vibrant, alive, unstoppable. So when the confirmation came, it hit harder than anyone expected. It didn't feel like news. It felt like something no one was ready to believe. Kimberly Williams Paisley, her father of the bride daughter on screen, wrote, "Working with Diane was one of the highlights of my life. She was kind, funny, generous, completely herself." Each tribute made the silence louder. If everyone saw her as full of life, what happened behind closed doors? Was she struggling privately? Or was this as sudden as it seemed? Right now, all anyone knows is this: the questions outnumber the answers, and that silence is deafening. The woman behind the icon. Before she was the legend everyone adored, Diane Keaton was simply Diane Hall, a dreamer from Los Angeles with a stubborn spark that refused to fade. Born in 1946, she didn't come from fame or fortune. Her father worked in construction. Her mother was a homemaker with a camera and imagination. From her, Diane learned one thing: life is art if you choose to see it that way. She moved to New York with almost nothing, no safety net, no promises, just ambition. She took acting classes by day and waited tables by night, collecting rejections like postcards. But she never stopped. She once said, "You just have to outlast the no's." That grit got her noticed at the neighborhood playhouse, where teachers saw something rare, nervous energy that somehow felt fearless. She didn't perform, she confessed. Every word sounded real, every silence felt intentional. Then came The Godfather. One audition changed everything. She walked in as an unknown and walked out as Kay Adams, standing beside Al Pacino in a story that would define modern cinema. The movie exploded, and so did her career. But fame never felt comfortable for her. She smiled through the attention, yet friends said she kept part of herself hidden, guarded, private, untouchable. She wasn't chasing the spotlight, she was chasing truth. And maybe that's why her work felt so human. She showed the world its own insecurities and made them beautiful. Behind the laughter, though, was something softer, a loneliness she rarely talked about. People close to her later admitted she carried a quiet sadness no one could quite name. It's that hidden side, fragile, real, endlessly searching, that makes the mystery of her final days even harder to accept. The roles that made her immortal. When The Godfather premiered in 1972, everything changed. Overnight, Diane Keaton became part of cinematic history, not through noise or glamour, but through quiet strength. As Kay Adams, she brought warmth to a world of chaos. You believed her. You felt her. She wasn't a supporting character. She was the story's conscience. But for Diane, that was only the beginning. 5 years later came a film that would change not just her career, but how the world saw women on screen. Annie Hall. It wasn't just a movie, it was a revolution. Her loose ties, her vests, her offbeat charm, everything about her felt new, real, effortless. She didn't act Annie Hall. She was Annie Hall. Even the name came from her own, Hall, her birth name. Her chemistry with Woody Allen was undeniable, a connection that sparked endless whispers. People speculated, romanticized, analyzed, but Diane never took the bait. She smiled and said, "He was funny." I liked funny, and that was her. Grounded, mysterious, authentic. By the time she won her Oscar, she had become something rare in Hollywood, a woman who made imperfection magnetic. She didn't chase the camera chased her. Behind the fame, though, came quiet struggles, the kind that never make headlines. Fame brought pressure, loneliness, and the unspoken price of being admired by everyone but understood by no one. The private life nobody saw. Fame never changed Diane Keaton. If anything, she changed fame. While everyone else played by Hollywood's rules, she quietly wrote her own. She never married, she never chased the red carpet. And instead of building a public life, she built a private one filled with art, books, and the laughter of 2 children she chose to raise on her own. She became a symbol of self-reliance, of doing life on her own terms. And yet, behind the confidence, she admitted to one fear that never left her. In an interview, she whispered, "I'm scared of disappearing." Those words linger now, soft, honest, haunting, because no one expected that fear to ever come true. The final days, signs everyone missed. In the months before she passed, Diane Keaton looked radiant. Her smile was the same, wide, fearless, unmistakably hers. She joked in interviews, posted playful photos, and talked about new creative projects. To the world, she seemed unstoppable. But now, looking back, fans see something different. A few missed appearances, a longer pause between posts, a tone in her last interview that felt softer, more reflective. Friends said she'd been pulling back, taking time for herself, words that feel heavier now. Some described her as calm, almost at peace. Others noticed the way she spoke about life's small joys, as if she was quietly saying goodbye without saying it out loud. Then came the family statement, short, respectful, and painfully vague. No cause of death, no final message, just silence. And that silence opened the door to endless questions. Had she been struggling privately? Was it sudden, unexpected? No one knows. What makes it harder is how alive she seemed. Stylish, funny, sharp as ever. Maybe that's what makes this so haunting, the contrast between a woman so full of light and the darkness that followed. Because if someone like Diane Keaton could vanish overnight, it reminds us how fragile brilliance really is. The last conversation, what Bette Midler revealed. If anyone understood the real Diane Keaton, it was Bette Midler. Their friendship stretched across decades. Laughter, shared moments, and the kind of honesty that only true friends can handle. When Bette finally spoke, Her message wasn't polished or rehearsed. It was raw. "Diane was hilarious," she wrote. "Brilliant. A complete original. What you saw was who she was." But it was the next line that made everyone stop scrolling. Bette said, "Our last conversation was full of laughter, but something in her voice stayed with me." She didn't explain what it was, and she didn't have to. Those few words were enough to send chills through her fans. It made people wonder, did Diane know something was coming? Was that laughter her way of saying goodbye? No one will ever know for sure. But the people who loved her, they felt it. Goldie Hawn posted, "We weren't ready to lose you. You left us with a trail of fairy dust." And Steve Martin, her longtime co-star, shared a photo with a single line. "She made every day brighter." Even Octavia Spencer joined in, a true original. She reminded us all that being yourself is enough. Each tribute was a reminder of the same truth. Diane Keaton wasn't a celebrity trying to be perfect. She was a person trying to be real. And maybe that's why losing her feels so personal. The aftermath and unanswered questions. In the days that followed, Hollywood grieved, loudly, publicly, and with love. Social media filled with stories, photos, and memories from people who had known her, even briefly. Reese Witherspoon wrote, "Diane changed everything for women in film. She made intelligence the most beautiful thing in the room." Octavia Spencer called her a true original who proved that being yourself is the greatest role you'll ever play. The tributes were endless, but through all the noise, one thing was missing: answers. Her family stayed silent. No updates, no details, just the same request for privacy. And that silence only made people wonder more. Those who'd seen her recently said she looked radiant, energized, even planning new work. No one saw this coming. No one was ready. And maybe that's what makes this so haunting, because Diane Keaton spent her life living on her own terms. And now, even in death, she's kept control of her story. No explanations, no spectacle, just mystery and grace. Legacy of a legend. Diane Keaton wasn't just an actress. She was a force, a living reminder that originality never goes out of style. She turned awkward into elegant. She made honesty magnetic. And in an industry built on imitation, she stood proudly as herself, flaws, laughter, hats and all. Her performances weren't performances at all. They were mirrors, reflections of love, loneliness, humor, and the courage to be different. From Annie Hall to The Godfather to Father of the Bride, she didn't just play roles. She lived them, and in doing so, she taught audiences that vulnerability is its own kind of strength. Even now, her influence is everywhere. Fashion icons still mimic her style. Young actors still study her timing, and generations of women still see her as proof that you don't have to fit in to stand out. Steve Martin once said, "She made every day brighter. That light hasn't gone out. It's only changed form." Because legends don't vanish. They echo. They live in the films that outlast time, in the words that make us feel, and in the silence that follows when someone truly irreplaceable leaves the stage. Diane Keaton may have left this world, but her magic, her truth, will never fade. She didn't just act. She inspired, and that's forever.